examination that we gave from paper 1 up to paper 4. So this week up to Friday, we are going to hold revision sessions for those specific mocks. But before I do that, a few housekeeping issues. So for those who did not receive their script but you wrote, it means that at the time that the marking and issuance was done today, we don't receive your name from ITC. Actually, officially registered for this board course. So what we are going to do, Brenda and team are going to come and sitting there. You can just go there, you just confirm the registration, then they collect your script from them. Yep. Okay, so that's one. Then two. I know most of you, when you enroll to this board course, with different expectations, to say what does it mean, what does it involve, and how is it going to assist me for my ITC. So one thing that we want to emphasize is that this board course is an examination preparation course. Can you agree on that? So because it's an examination preparation course, what does it mean? Because I know may know that it's an exam prep course, but maybe not so sure of implications. So from our perspective, we are going to notice that given our lecture timetable, we don't have sessions that we go through teaching specific topics. Confirm we have noticed from our timetable. But the purpose of this board course is to fine-tune our exam technique in preparation for the ITC. So in this session, we don't expect to be teaching new knowledge. Our emphasis is going to be more on the knowledge that we already have. How best can we use it? Come the ITC examination. Which is why last week we started off by giving you mock exams. And I thought some of the feedback that we're getting that you guys are giving us mocks, but we're not prepared. Yes, we actually wanted you to write before you're done in preparation. The reason being what? The mock is more of a diagnostic tool. Before you do anything, do you know where you are? Because I know most of you had the study plan ITC, but our question was, what informed those study plans or study strategies? So by giving you this mock exam, we hope through our discussion this week is going to point you in the right direction in terms of what you need to prepare for. So what does this mean also? Please don't worry too much about the mark which is on the script. Otherwise, I know some of you can just be starting to panic. Don't worry about the marking. Just ask yourself, when you wrote the mock, did you properly apply yourself? So that when we start to revise, we see where we're missing each other and reconcile from an exam technique perspective. Because definitely come the 29th and 30th of January, we are not going to get these mock tests to ITC paper. But the skills and techniques that you have learned from these papers are very, very important. There are another key area that I would want you to notice. Please, the ITC board course, or between now and the date of the ITC, please don't try to redo CTA. Can we agree? For the simple reason that you don't have the time. And secondly, you passed CTA. We can't confirm that with the So, everyone sitting in here, you've successfully completed your CTA. So it means as part of your strategy, guys, going back to read your CTA notes should not be the focus of your study over the next couple of weeks, but more about that which I know, can I use it to answer exam questions if I get one? How do I use that knowledge to solve any particular problems in the examination? Are we here? So in January, we are going to have sessions that we have termed critical thinking sessions. I believe most of you found that name quite interesting. And again, those sessions, we didn't then also put them subject specific in them. Why? Because we want us to start to think in an integrated manner. Because ITC are just going to get paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4, done. Before you know it, you think you've not written any math paper. But maybe in all the 4 papers there was math, isn't it? So can you pick out any math-related issues? Are you able to already start to think in an integrated manner? So in the critical thinking session, one of the core aspects that we are going to be dealing with is problem-solving skills. Because you're going to find that, I'm sure from experience, you know all your examinations, they're all about solving a problem. Do you know how to solve a problem? How do you interpret the issue? How do you identify the issue? And how best can you articulate yourself in solving the problem? Then post that, we'll then give you our final mock exam. So the final mock, it's more part of your self-study. You give you the mock, you write it your own time and what? And pass. Then what we'll do, we'll give you pre-recorded revision sessions for particular mock to assist in you doing your final checks. But above all that, consultations are still open. And I would want to encourage us that even within our group, let's have those discussions. So that the group, we are not just forwarding these nice messages that we normally forward. But we are also using the group to prepare ourselves for the ITC, and not just to forward jobs. Okay, so without me wasting our time, let's get on to business. So the paper 1 that you get through is question 1, 50 marks, and also question 2, 50 marks. What was our general view on the paper? It was hard. Okay? I'm getting feedback that was hard, but we know what was hard. Okay, so the input I'm getting from the front here is the scenario was difficult to comprehend. So I just want to note it down. These issues are difficult. So allow me to pocket my notes. So I'm getting feedback that the scenario was hard. Interesting. Any other issues first? Yes.
I think our depth was poor.
Your?
Depth poor. I think we were lacking something. You know that exemplary. Because of I think it was mental fatigue.
So I think exam fitness was not there.
Yes.
Okay? We are still celebrating CTA. Other one of the issues encountered. So I'm getting scenario difficult to comprehend. Exam fitness not there. Others, what did we struggle with? The rest of the class we are here is sorted. We want another one next week. Yes. Okay. Sorry. So you didn't have anything to conclude. So what was your attitude? Were you relaxed? Were you, I don't care. Too relaxed. Okay, too relaxed. Even that. So the other guys are saying not quite so. we plan for our revision, that what we want to do is, we are going to go through each required, isn't it? And the emphasis of my revision is, number one, did you properly interpret the required, isn't it? And based on your interpretation, what was the implication on your answers? Then secondly, were you able to use the information in the case study to tackle whatever problem you're given in the required? And I hope as you're going to be doing that discussion, you also be reconciling what you got on your own script. Where you did not perform well, ask yourself, what did I miss and why did I miss it? For specifically the why question, that's what you need to have an answer to it. Why did you miss it? Is it because you don't know variance analysis? Or is it because you missed some detail in the scenario which then affected your interpretation in it? So that is going forward, you know what you need to work on. I need to pay more attention to the scenario. Because I know the formula for variance. But I could not calculate because of 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons. So question 1, I'm sure you must have noticed that question 1 largely had most what? It was largely costing. And I'm going to tell you from my experience at both CT and ITC, a student generally struggle with costing. If you are going to look at general average marks, costing versus financial management, people tend to do a bit better financial management over what? Costing. And one of the biggest problems is with costing. If you don't understand the scenario, you're in trouble. You may have crammed all the formulas, all the models, but if you get lost in the scenario, you know what? You're in trouble. So we're going to be interchanging between the scenario, the required, and what we also expected you to do. That is the suggested solution. Which solution is also uploaded on my CAA. So required A says, calculate the variances for Tapazimbi iron ore only in as much detail as possible and interpret the material variances of the iron inputs of the iron making department. And you are told 4 marks for the variances and 5 for interpretation. How about this question? Lights out. So let's go through our keywords in the required. Can you identify for me the keywords you are required? Within the instruction, what are the keywords in the instruction? Anyone? Yeah, I'm just looking for words. I'm not asking for interpretation, just for words. Yes. So calculate. So it means that whatever you did in your answer, we expect to see a calculation in one form or the other. So it's a minimum to have a calculation. Before we go anywhere, so if your answer didn't have a calculation, it means you didn't answer the required. Okay? Calculate. What else? We are calculating what? A variance. And what is a variance? What is a variance? A variance, what is it? Yes? So she's saying departure of actual versus what? So in our context of actual versus what was that expected? Versus standard, isn't it? So you're told in the case that Cisco used the standard variable costing system, and then you are given actual results. Then you get a requirement which says calculate variances. So that means I need to be comparing actual and what? And standard. Okay, another keyword. Another keyword. Yes. Sorry? And I'm going going to put this in brackets. Dampers zinc iron ore only. In here, can you see I put only in bold. If I could have some words in bold. Why am I emphasizing this? Go back to your script. How many of us calculated variance for Sishen, Sinter, some of us dolomite? Let's go back to our script. How many of us calculated variances for the other raw materials? Okay guys, let's talk. So if, okay guys, hey, one meeting please. So if we had variances for the other materials, my question is why? What did we miss? Yet the instruction there is clearly. Variances for what? Dampazimpi iron ore only, isn't it? So yes, I know in the case that there was information for you to be able to calculate variances for Sinter, variances for Sishen. But the part said focus on what? Dampazimpi, isn't it? So again, that's an instruction. So if you missed it, ask yourself, why did I miss it? Is it who gets easily excited when the examination? But I think I know this variance, so. And then I saw a couple of us where we had variances on the income side of things. To say we had sales variances. And I question again, where are they coming from? What was our required was specific? For the Dampazimpi iron ore. So food for thought. Another key word in the required. Another key word in the required. Key word of phrase. Assist us in answering this thing. Yes. In as much detail as possible. What is the interpretation of that? In as much detail as possible. How did you interpret that instruction? Guys, this will happen in the ITC in January. One thing in as much detail as possible. What does it mean to you? In as much detail as possible. So I'm sure when you go to your material variances, you got your overall material usage variance, which can be broken down, isn't it? Into mixed yield ETC. But the key word there was as possible. So before you calculated any variance, ask yourself, do I have the information? Because otherwise you spend 10 minutes or 20 minutes trying to calculate something for which you don't have the information. Then the statement which said in as much detail as possible. Then another keyword. After in as much as possible. Yes. Interpret the variance for the iron ore input. What is that instruction telling us? So I'll give you the classified energy that will tell you. That will give us. We had an aggregate material usage value or material yield value of deposit iron ore. Full stop. Also the favorable value, material yield value. Is that interpretation? I can see from the number that the yield variance is aggregate. What is it communicating? That's interpretation. I can see that we've got a positive mixed variance. What is it communicating? What could have caused that positive or favorable mixed variance? What could have caused that adverse yield variances? That's my interpretation. And again, guys, in the interpretation, some of the common reasons that we taught, we had adverse material yield variances. Because it appears that these guys, they should have used cheaper material. Where are you getting that? Find the relationship, isn't it? If I look at what is the relationship between a mixed variance and a yield variance? If I've got a positive mix, what is the likely impact on my yield, isn't it? If I use a material which has got a lower yield, what is the impact? I've played around with my mixing it and used more of a material with a lower yield. That is the type of relationship that we are looking for in the interpretation. Not to tell me that I had a $10,000 adverse variance. That's not interpretation. And you're not going to get a mark for saying that, isn't it? So I'm trying to go back to what you wrote. Did we interpret? Or we just restated what I could see from your numbers? Confirm there's a difference. Regurgitating what's coming out of the numbers versus actually telling me the information content of those numbers. The brief announcement for those guys who are here to collect their skills. There are some more friendly. So this was my report. And I believe when all of us saw the Tabazimbi IO, we could pick up that this was a raw material. Yeah. So now, I know there was feedback that I got to say the scenario was difficult to comprehend. Confirm. So I want to illustrate something. What is Cisco's business? How do they make their money? Cisco. How do they make their money? So they produce steel. There is steel manufacturer. Yeah. So Cisco is a steel manufacturer. But when you go through the case study, when we given information over the entire steel manufacturing process, the final output at Cisco level was steel, isn't it? But our case study only likely gave us information on the iron making department, isn't it? Do you agree? Which iron was then used to make the final product being what? Steel, isn't it? And from the scenario, what I could pick out was to come out with the iron. We needed this iron ore. You know, 3 types: fission, Tabazimbi, and synthesis as the key raw materials into the iron production process. So in the exam, what is my expectation for you to be able to understand this thing? I expect to draw a simple flow diagram, isn't it? A process flow diagram. Where are we starting from? What are my inputs? Well, I need to know where our production process is starting from. So our inputs are those iron ore. And that iron ore is fueled. What does the English word fuel mean? So fuel is not equal to petrol and diesel, please note. By saying fueled, or what is synonym for fuel? Fueled. What do you think is the synonym for fueled? What do we use fuel for? It's for generating power, isn't it? So you're saying these are fueled with metallurgical coke. Received from the coke department. So I find coke is a special type of coke, isn't it? Which is used to be able to produce high temperatures. So that's what I'm getting from the production process. Then I'm told that the cinder received from the sinter department and the metallurgical coke received from the coke department is transferred as standard cost on a just-in-time basis, and no input of this is kept in the iron-making department. So do you have inventory for Sishen and Tabazim? That sentence that we have been told, the sinter received from the sinter department and material coke are used on a just-in-time basis, and no inventory of this. The need for sinter and coke, we don't have inventory. But what about for other raw materials? You can infer that you keep raw materials there. Which is why if you then go to the actual numbers, can you see that for Tabazim and Sishen you've got stuff? Because if you look at what was purchased and what was used in production, they are different, isn't it? But if you go to sinter and metallurgical coke, we have stock. Where is it coming from? I was told in the case study. So you should then not get surprised when they get these actual numbers. So let me go back to the of the production process. So I think from this process, liquid iron is obtained. So what is the output from the iron making department? It's liquid iron, isn't it? Yep. Which liquid iron is transported on a railway track to the steel making department. And the case that did not then give you further information on the steel making department, what happens then? Why? Because we're only focusing on the iron making department. And we are told that during the transportation of the liquid iron to the steel making department, the top part of the liquid iron starts to cool down and forms a layer called slag, which is sold as a byproduct. This slag is used to reduce the cost of the liquid iron. Yep. And the iron making department accepts a slag loss of 1% of the input into the torpedo as normal. Yep. So let's put this into numbers. If from the production process, the iron department produces 10,000 tons, how much is received by the steel making department? How much will be received by the steel making department? How much is received by the steel making department? 9,900. Yep. So in reverse, if the steel making department says we want 1,000 tons, how many tons should the iron making department produce? If the steel making department said we want 1,000 tons, how many tons should the iron making department produce? It will be 1,010. So to meet a demand of 1,000, we need to transport what? Consider this how normal loss is okay. Because your customer does not care that you are going to suffer normal losses. If they said you want 10,000, they want to deliver what? 10,000. That's their order. So to produce that, I need to take into account my normal what? I hope we can see where I'm already taking this in our interpretation. Required to see. The order was for 29,000 what? And in doing our calculation, just using that 29,000 production, if you produce that 29,000, we're not going to secure our order with a normal loss of 2.5%. So if you produce exactly what was ordered, we're not going to read this 1%. But it will take time to think about the implication of this normal loss. Or we just read in cruise control. It's an exam time is an under time pressure. Okay, can you reflect a bit? I know some of you were saying case study was difficult, isn't it? And trust me, you know one of the reasons why standard costing is difficult is because you don't take time to understand the process. So going forward, what is my advice? When you get a scenario like this, first of all, start off with the broad categories, isn't it? Just ask yourself, what are my inputs, isn't it? What is my output? What is my input? Iron ore. What is my output? Liquid what? Iron. So to move from iron ore to liquid iron, what happens in between? But the most important thing is you have clarity to say, in trying to understand what happens, I'm saying I want to understand how the liquid iron is produced. We are not just reading like a novel. We don't have the end in mind, isn't it? So here I now reading with the end in mind. The process is to produce liquid iron. Where is it starting from? It's starting from my input, being the ore. Then I read what's in between it. So far, so good. Well, let me move on with my case study. Then we're given this standard cost card for the 2019 financial year. Do you understand this cost card? Or it was lights out? As it was in Greek or in some other funny language. Okay, can you agree that? Okay, guys. Guys, remember the key thing is want to learn from this. So number one, I would say confirm the cost card was in English. In English? Yes. So now let's look at the cost card. When you are looking at the standard cost card, we want to come up with a cost of what? Given our context, it's a cost to do what? Or it's a standard cost engaged in doing what? I no wonder we go to those. Because you don't know what you're trying to cost. How then do you understand the information? Yes.
Produce the final product.
The cost of producing iron ore, isn't it? That is the purpose of this information. To say what is the standard cost of producing iron ore. And in this case study, their unit of measure for iron ore was what? Was ton, isn't it? So confirm we need to understand the unit of measure. Is it 1 as in 1 up to 1? Am I using kgs? Am I using kilometers? What is my unit of measure for my output? Tons. Yep. So now let's go to our cost card. So I've got our direct cost, then we've got absorption cost. What is the difference between direct cost and absorption cost? What is the difference? In English, please. So please don't confuse me. What is the difference between direct and absorption cost? Yes.
I think direct cost you are looking at variable cost excluding fixed costs. But on the other side, absorption cost includes fixed costs.
So absorption cost includes fixed cost. We have absorbed what? Fixed cost into the cost of production of each unit of measure. Yep. So let's now go down to our table. Consumption rate. What do you understand by the word consumption rate? Just look at that column. Consumption rate, yes.
How much of what input is required to produce a certain quantity of output.
Isn't it? How much of my input do I require to produce my what? Output. So then that's consumption. And here we said our output of measure is a ton, isn't it? To produce a ton of liquid iron, how much of the double zinc iron ore do I need? Happy. Then tariff per ton. What is this? Okay, what is the tariff? It's a cost, isn't it? I know last month, was it not October, when all of you are complaining, the tariff has gone up. And they're saying the word loosely, like you know what it means. The tariffs these guys are not serious. But it comes in a case that then you wonder what are tariffs. One person struggled with the word tariff. Yet I know in our everyday language we use the word in it. So how much does each unit of or ton of double iron ore cost in it? Happy. Now, when I come to the mixture price, how much double zinc iron ore do I need in dollar amount to produce a ton of liquid iron in it? Happy. So if I look at the 450, I need what? 450. What is that 450? I need 450 kgs of what? Double zinc iron ore for us to produce a ton of liquid iron. And how much does double zinc cost? $280 per ton. So how much does 450 kgs cost? Which is now what? My mixture price. Where did I get the answer? You are the ones who are giving me the answers. I didn't even give me a single number. I said from how much? 450, what is this? You told me 450 kgs. How much does it cost? The 280 is 280 per watt. So how much does 450 kgs cost? Anyway, so where did we get lost? Let's talk. Where did we get lost? Well, guys, anyone get this? Remember the whole idea, the whole idea is to learn, isn't it? Say, in my analysis of information, what am I missing? And why am I missing it? And you know, part of the reason why we miss certain things. Mind blow. We have told you also that this thing was difficult, isn't it? So the moment you tell us that something is difficult, what happens to your mind? It gives up, isn't it? Just says, I don't know, I'm in trouble. Besides, it's just a mock. But if you look at the simplified manner in which I took to interpret the table, what is 450? What is 280? What is 126? They can say, there was nothing that was complicated. So it's all about how you approach the information provided. And can you also put that in my analysis? I was understanding the English words. I didn't even try to think, see what's sitting in my textbook or in my syllabus. As an English word, what is consumption? What is the tariff? But for most of us, we are quick to try to reference to a question that you previously didn't. You are going to try to reference your module and you are going to get a blank. It's not there. In our modules, you don't define the word consumption. Okay, so confirm up to cinder. We can now see how the table was working. The table following through now. The same story for coke and dolomite. I need 400 kgs of dolomite. So at 400 kgs of coke, I need 200 kgs of dolomite in it, which costs 925 per ton. So how much does the 400 kgs cost in it? And I go down with mine. We also got our operational cost in it. Then we're also given our fixed operational costs as $70. And there was this line item which said slag salt. Why was it deducted? Why was it deducted? Yes.
I think it's a byproduct. The revenue from byproduct usually reduces the cost of the main product.
So he's saying the slag is a byproduct. So the revenue from byproduct then effectively reduces the cost of my production. Cisco, they are not in the business of producing slag, confirm. That's not their business. So they produce a ton of steel, of iron ore soil. But they're not on that ton. 1% is going to be lost. But the loss is not going to be 100% loss in it. They are going to salvage something. And that way they are able to salvage. Effectively is reducing their cost of production. Why go to the customer? If they produce a ton, they're not going to be able to deliver a ton or to the steel making department. They'll only be able to give them what? You said what? 990 kgs, isn't it? Instead of a full ton. What's the question?
No, I didn't remember it, but I think I remember it was also stated in the scenario that there will be slag, like a byproduct, that will be sold, in order to reduce the cost of the product.
Isn't it? Which is coming from page 1. This is sold as a byproduct. The slag sold is used to reduce the cost of the liquid iron. And then you are shocked when you see it in the cost. And guys, remember, we asked, when I went on to the slide line, I asked us, why was it deducted? Do we want to ask ourselves those questions in the exam? And try to find those answers, starting from the scenario. Or is it just common sense? Is it making sense for it to be deducted? Then you are given this further information on page 2 on the yield of liquid iron. What is yield? What is yield? As an English word. And then financial management also use the term yield, isn't it? What is yield? Yes. Harvest, okay? So with the farmer in the, when they see yield, they measure it in their harvest. Yes, correct? After yield, what does it mean to us? What does it communicate to us? Yes. Output, I put something in it. What do I get out of it? So in the exam, how many of us stop to think what yield meant? Or we thought we know, but don't really know. when we are now then calculating the yield variance, you can see that this person don't even know what yield means. So definitely you won't be able to calculate the yield variance. If I look at my input, what output does it give me? We need to put in 1.5 tons, isn't it, of iron ore to get a ton of what? Liquid iron, which is giving us the 66.67% yield, isn't it? Total yield. But if you dig deeper, each raw material has its own standard yield, isn't it? If you look at, for example, Dabazim, you needed 415 to be able to produce a what? A ton. You needed 375 of session to be able to produce a what? Actually, we then end up using 500. It means our Dabazim are now having a different yield, isn't it? Than to this. And when you look at the concept of mix, to add up to 1,500, what is the contribution of each raw material in there? Confirm that's mix. So my key message here is, guys, whenever I look at this information, let's not run to quickly try to think technically. Let's think in simple terms. What is yield? What is mix? If I look at a simple example in life, when we are talking about racial mix, what are we talking about? If I'm a farmer and I'm talking about yield, what do I mean, isn't it? What is my yield per hectare? Because that's how farmers measure in their operations, yield per hectare. If I put so much, how much do I get out of it? Okay, I'll move on. So part of target, then give information around a special contract with lumber iron ore, with some special prices, which then there's some clauses to say later on what will be the revised price ETC. But don't want to get into that much into it. We're also given actual information to say how much do we purchase and how much was used in production. So it means at the end of the month of March, we close the stock of what? That was the unit of 5,000. The same on the incision purchase used in production, but for the other ones, it appeared whatever we purchase we use in production. There's also clearly stated in page 1 of the scenario. So now coming back to our record. The record said what? Well, now our discussion then covers us from required A to D. Present one. So the record said calculate variance in it for Dambazim iron ore, and you told me, so tomorrow don't say Elliot said, you told me that variance is we are comparing actual time versus expectation. And within this context, our expectation was the standard cost. Then I believe all of you made an attempt to calculate the mixed variance. But then all of us made an attempt. We never closed our minds. Okay? So, if we didn't calculate the mixed variance, why? Guys, let's talk about it. If we didn't calculate the mixed variance, why? Yes. Okay,
I think he talked about it covers in the iron ore only.
Agreed.
So There was no room for
There was no room for.
calculating.
Okay, interesting. So he's saying, since I was only asked to calculate a variance for a specific raw material, then meant it was not possible then to calculate a what? A mixed variance. That was his analysis. Okay, interesting. So what is the formula for mixed variance? What is the formula? Don't ignore me. Yes. Okay, sorry. Hey, what did you please? The fact that you don't dress your head means you want to learn it. So let's do some learning, yes. You are saying revise standard. You said revise quantity. So I'm going to say RQ. Okay? Minus actual quantity times standard price. Okay, and how do you get the revised quantity? How do you get the revised quantity? I thought you used this formula there, right? And said yes. So in actual quantity in the standard mix, are we in agreement with that? Actual quantity in the standard mix, all right? Then the actual quantity. Actual quantity. There's nothing to think about it. Then, final time is standard price. So when this formula, you then get the total mix variance. Do you agree? But for us, we wanted the mix variance for a specific raw material. Actually, so how then I play around it. So I'll go back to my formula. We talked about revised what? Quantity. Revised quantity being what was the total actual quantity used in what? In the standard what? In the standard proportion conversion. So for Dapazim, what was my standard proportion for Dapazim iron ore? You come back to our course study. So Dapazim was 415. So I can still apply that same formula. I'm going to say 450 divided by 1,500. So don't have the standard mix for Dapazim times. What was the total actual quantity? Which one? 50 plus the other 15 plus the 100. So we are using quantities used in production, not quantities purchased. Because we want to calculate the mix values. What mix was used in production? Not purchasing mix. So I'll say times 200 what? Okay. FPM. Then actual quantity. What was the actual quantity of the Dapazim used? Anyway. Minus 50K. You are the one to get me the formula. It's not my formula. Then, what was standard price for Dapazim? What was standard price? What was standard price? Yes. It's 2,800. Since you know who I'm dealing with what? I'm dealing with tons. So I'm also going to say 28 times what? 28. Then I get my mix values. So can you see our problem? Yet we asked you to count the total mix value. I believe all of you have got it right, isn't it? But that's what you have seen in previous questions. That's what you have seen in your what? In your module. But our problem is when we've got these formulas, we don't understand what they are communicating. We said what were the revised quantities. So I'm saying the actual quantity in standard proportion, isn't it? And with the information, what's the standard proportion for Ndabazim? 450 over 150. What are the total actual quantity? 200,000. So can't we calculate the revised quantity? The answer is yes. But our challenge is because we have never seen a similar question. We told ourselves it can't, isn't it? So what's our feedback on this one? Based on what we wrote. What's our feedback? When did we get close? Okay, guys. So our takeaway, okay, so I think we can move forward. So please, our takeaway, whenever we are looking at a module or a formula, you need to ask us, do you understand the formula? There is knowing the formula versus understanding the. There are two different things. If you know the formula, even the exam we are expected to use it in your normal usual way, you're not going to have a problem. But if you are expected to use it with a slight variation, you are in trouble. If you don't understand the formula. But you know, what does it communicate? There, from the information, the problem I'm trying to solve, how can I still make use of the formula? So that was mix. Then yield variance. What is yield? Yield. What is my formula for yield? What is the formula for the yield variance? Yield variance. Yield variance. Not what? Yield. Yes.
And then it's budgeted yield minus actual yield standard price.
And then budgeted yield
Minus actual yield times standard price.
Standard price. Again, so formula budgeted yield minus actual yield times standard price. So if my budget yield is more, it's going to be a favorable in 100. From this formula, if my BY is greater than the A1, is it favorable or adverse? It's adverse. So for it to be easier for you mathematically, rather do what? Actual yield less. So when you get a negative, you know that is what? Adverse. If you also get a positive, then you know it's a what? Favorable. You see our actual yield was actually more than we anticipated. What's our budgeted yield? So when you look at budget yield, how do we calculate it? Remember, yield is output based. How much of the input do we require to produce the what? Output. So in this scenario, what was our output as far as our actual results are concerned? What was our output? It was what? Output. How much liquid iron did you produce in March? So this is the actual output, isn't it? Remember, yield, we said it's output based. So when I look at budgeted yield, it's to say if I look at the standard yield, okay guys, when I look at the standard yield, how much would I be used in raw material to produce what? But now that's yield. How much of my raw materials should I have used to produce 150,000? How much should you have used? So it's 130K. Okay, by what? 125 divided by 1,000. Because we said we need 1,500 kgs of input to produce a kg of what? Output. Confirm. So to produce 130,000 K, how much in raw material should we have what? Used. That's yield, isn't it? And actual, what was the actual? I hope we don't stretch our heads over actual. What is our actual here?
200,000.
Actually, we are just edging up in it. To produce 100,000 tons, how much raw materials do we use? We use 200,000. So I'm going to say minus 200 what? Okay. That's two together. I sometimes call standard price, yes. The output. What is yield? So when I'm talking about yield, I'm saying how much input do I require to produce my what? Output in it. Confirm. To produce 10 tons of maize, I need 1 ton of fertilizer. Okay, that's my standard yield, isn't it? A ton of fertilizer will give me a ton of maize. That's my standard. So now I know the output, 130K. If I use my standard yield, how much input should I have? Don't budget it, isn't it? Versus what I actually used. Anyone lost? Yes, question. Okay, so yes, let's talk.
Traditions are 200,000 tons. So get our standard, get our expectations. Stefano get our production is
Sorry?
66.7 something. No output at Stefano get our production, but it's supposed to be produced 100%. So that's 66.7% mark. Then output at over 200.
So yes, okay. I want to also write down what we are saying. We are saying to produce 200,000 tons, they have given us output of how much? A standard yield.
Of 180.
Should they have given you 180?
180. That was where it comes.
We didn't give 180.
Traditions are 200,000.
Yeah, and should they give you
180.
that was the yield. So 200,000 tons gave us a yield of 180. Agreed.
My final bid is achieved we used our expectations. Tefano put this at 66.67%.
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying, okay, I want to go, you're saying actual yield was 130K. And how much should have been our yield?
Tefano 200,000 like 66.67%.
Times 66.67%.
Where Tefano?
So that's supposed to be our budgeted yield. So in fact, it is not the same thing. It's the same thing that we're talking about. Yes. Okay, let's agree. I'm not saying this is wrong. Okay, yes. Yes, agreed.
We are supposed also to actually use the Canada positive budget. We must also get the system.
Actually, you get the difference, but that's why we actually counted the value. So if you say 267, then you are going to get a different number. Yes. That's not the value, that's the yield value you're talking about. So the only difference, if you use the formula below, is the standard price you are going to use. Because remember you looked at output, isn't it? Yes. So you need to use the standard price of what? Output. So for the purpose of our requirement, with this formula, you're going to get stuck. Because our guide asked us from an input perspective, which is Dabazim. So the best one that we have to use is to use the one which is more input based to calculate the yield variance. So our standard cost, I then use my standard cost of my input. Are you understanding the logic? This is just a bit of mathematics. So at least you treat like with like, isn't it? Because of the standard cost of output, we then use the cost of an individual input. It won't be you're treating like with like. But I'm here that at least we are reconciling and saying what do we mean by yield? And there can be various ways of calculating the variance in there. Then putting the dollar amount, what should be our standard cost? So I'm going back to my original formula. So here I look and say what input should we have used to produce 130? What do you actually use? And confirm these are in totals.
Yes.
But our required said we want variance for what? As invisible. So what would be my standard cost? Yes.
I tell you to 450 over 1.5 times 280.
450 over 1.5 times 280. You know, agree with this one. So for Dabazimbi, guys, we are saying ultimately to the yield, what is Dabazimbi contributing in it? So it's like trying to put a weight in it. Dabazimbi's cost, what is its weighted contribution in it to the total raw material cost? Which is why I said 450 divided by the total 1.5 times the standard cost for what? Per ton of Dabazimbi. Anyway, one thing that I want to emphasize, after all this is presented and done, let's now go to the exam. Compared to the exam, your measure contains 10 marks. Can we agree on that? Within the exam, it's not about demonstrating that you know. You want 8 marks. So in the exam, please identify the areas that are difficult. And don't waste time on the difficult areas. So in this yield variance, the cost aspect was very difficult. Please don't waste time on that. But the actual yield in quantity aspect was a bit straightforward. Get your marks there and move on. Be willing to make a decision to say, I know up to this level. Then I quickly want to move on. But there are times we spend a lot of time trying to get one additional mark. And you spend 10 to 15 minutes looking for what? One mark. So that's from an exam technique. So in a nutshell, this is what we expected you to do.
You said something when you wrote the second formula there. You said now you should still put it, you are using the standard price, not the standard cost.
Yeah, both we are using standard cost. But standard cost of what? The second formula was output based. So it then is the standard cost of the output being the iron ore. This one. So what is the standard cost of iron ore? If you are not looking at output based, you come there to our cost card, isn't it? This cost card was coming up with the standard cost of iron ore. To say to produce the iron ore, what is the standard cost to produce iron ore?
So by the swimming exam setup, one can use the standard cost, then one can also use 743, all of us will be correct. I want to try
for this required, not correct. What's required, wanted to count the variance for what? Copper, zinc, iron ore.
So in what scenario will it be correct?
Maybe the required to say, calculate your material variance for ore. And you just want to lump up the total of mixed variance. But in this case, we're given for a specific raw material. What is the yield variance for a specific raw material? Anyway, let's now summarize this so that we don't create our heads too much over this question. We just want to say, looking at this, what is the key learning question number 1? I can see that from our discussions. We found this required a bit challenging, confirm. But some of us wrote this as the first required. Why? For me, it's a simple question. Maybe your whole CTA life, you have never been able to calculate the yield variance. And you get a question which you expect to calculate the yield variance. You do it first. Confirm there's a problem there. So guys, for me, there's a definite what? A problem. Then number 2, most of you, I think we have agreed that costing is a bit challenging versus financial management. We started with question 1, costing nemo. It was lights out. When you went to the financial management question, you were now tired, frustrated. Even the most basic of things, you didn't know what to do. So that self-management in the exam is very important. What do you start off with? What you start off with, does it boost your confidence? Or it's going to kill your confidence? So the person who passes this exam is not the smartest technical, but the smartest at exam management. But so when we are doing our preparation, we think, so long as I sort out my technical, I should be okay. You won't be okay if you're not smart in the exam. Play around there, understand your weakness is your strength, isn't it? Maximize on your strength, isn't it? Salvage something from your weaknesses. Remember, I'm using the word salvage, and I don't agree with the word that Apana change implemented. For example, the price variance here was very straightforward, isn't it? So I can't say on this variance question to get a 0. Not acceptable. The price variance was very straightforward. Was the price variance difficult? Or you didn't write it because you started off with the mix and the yield variance? By the time you got to the price, your brains were now upside down. So again, that's not being smart in the examination. So how we help with that particular ending point? In terms of managing the exam, not the other way around. More often than not, we are being managed and not managing the examination. Okay? Can I go to the next requirement? I'm not doing too well on time. My next requirement. What more than one of these requirements? Okay, so required B, okay guys. Hey, one meeting please. All of you have got 2 out of 9, so don't celebrate that. Let's discuss how you have gotten a 9 out of 9. So explain what adjustments need to be made to value closing inventory of the iron making department according to IA 2. And prepare a journal to correct the fixed portion of inventory. If it assumed that there are 1,000 tons of liquid iron before discharge on hand at the end of March 20, communication skills, logical argument. And most of us fail to present a logical argument. What adjustment? So this was an accounting question. So obviously, the moment I look at an adjustment, what's the first thing I need to understand? Before I do any adjustment, what is the first thing? I need to ask myself, where am I in? Currently, how are they valuing their inventory? Happy? So currently, how are they valuing their inventory? On the scenario, the iron making department, how are they valuing their inventory? I thought you wrote this example. Yes. You're not trying. Backbenchers. Currently, how is the iron making department valuing their inventory? Not told or not told. In the scenario, how are they valuing their inventory? the accounting group. I still not teaching. I have to have the full cost, and that are saying absorption cost, saying we need to include all the costs of production. I know I have to use the terminology, they say conversion, all the costs of conversion. And confirm there's now a difference between what we are doing for internal reporting purposes and what is required for what? IS2. That's one. Secondly, I had someone talking about that IS2. Now with that cost, then further goes and says it should be the what? The law of cost and NRV. I now have the cost. I need to do a further assessment. Law of cost and NRV. Is that being done currently for management reporting purposes? No, isn't it? Now we have a discussion. But the problem that we did, most of us, when we answered this required, we didn't do this first. What are we currently doing? What does IS2 requirement? What are the differences? Therefore, what is the journal? So I would see some of your hands, the deadbeat increment. So the debt increment, you could pick out debt increment. Then it told credit, fixed cost of sales, credit, bank. I was holding my head, okay. But the scenario told you that fixed costs are expense in the income statement, isn't it? So I think a fixed cost, you are taking out them away from the income statement. So you are crediting the income statement and capitalizing those costs towards. And I believe if you go to your final, that's not the most difficult of journals, isn't it? But because we don't tend to understand what the required was telling us to do. And I got came out of this, this required was difficult. I know. It can't. It won't. So I know all of us, if the people who got 509, they are in the minority. Majority, one or two goes just say invest by the law of course in NRV. Okay, you get something, but so what? What does it mean? What the logical discussion is it? Currently for management reporting and making it cost, isn't it? Then for accounting purposes, we need them to make, assess the NRV assessment, isn't it? And if cost is higher than NRV, they need to process it. The actual cost, we are using standard variable, but accounting is saying full cost, isn't it? So it means you need to do an adjustment for the fixed production. So what's our takeaway from required B? Required B, what's our takeaway? To say what have you learned from required B? I hope you have not learned IS2. The objective was not to teach you IS2. If you look at this question inside, what's a technical difficult question? Not necessarily, but we didn't take time to understand what we're trying to do with it. And then most of us end up over-communicating required. Okay. C. I see what the most popular question in Singapore. I think most of us, if not all of us, did an attempt to see. I hope you can see that the word attempt is important. So C says, Can you please calculate the minimum sales price per ton that the iron-making department should accept for the special order of liquid iron and motivate all amounts included and excluded? So this is required. How do we come up with the minimum sales price before we go to the actual figures? In coming up with the minimum selling price, how do we go about it? Or what is the principle? Yes. Okay, guys.
The principle is that you cannot price our price below the cost of raw material.
Below the cost of raw materials.
So every price that we should charge, we should then determine the cost that are included first, then include the markup with this.
So those costs, what are the key characteristics of those costs? Relevant costs. So some people say relevant, others who talk about incremental, others will talk about variable. So at a minimum, we need to recover all our incremental costs that we are going to incur in delivering on this order. Do you agree? That's our minimum what? Selling prices. So we are dealing with incremental, relevant. And it's a cost of what? We want to come up with price per ton. So it means whatever calculation you did should have allowed you to come up with an incremental cost per. Well, that some of us were just accumulating costs. But then you see how was it going to link to a time? It's not coming out. Yes, you have told me that this cost is relevant, but when you look at the work in its entirety, you could see that these students did not even know what they were calculating. It was just a sheet of cost accumulation. Okay. So here's some major key insights. I believe most of us think that this is what we're supposed to build. But the biggest challenge was now in the case study. So in the case study, business opportunity. I love this case study. The company has been approached to supply 29,250 tons on a monthly basis. So the iron making department has been approached to supply 29,250 tons on a monthly basis. Then I'll jump straight to this bullet. The distance loss from the sales is 2.5% due to the longer distance of transport. Remember what I discussed earlier on? So how much should we produce per month? Most of us were running with the 29,250. So it meant if you use the 29,250, you are off target, you misfired. Because if you produce 29,250, you won't be able to deliver on this order. Because of that 2.5% normal. Did I take time to interpret the implication of a normal loss? So that was number one. Then number two. So here I'm just going through some of the common issues we noticed when you're marking your script. However, if there's any other specific questions, we can always bring them up for sharing with the rest of the class. The other problem confirmed in the case that we also had some annual costs or non-recurring costs. Confirmed. And we had some costs that we could measure on a monthly basis. So the problem that we had is, in some of our scripts, we're mixing and matching annual costs and monthly costs. And then adding them up as if you're treating like with like. So if you went the route of calculating the total annual cost of producing whatever, then everything was supposed to annualize it. If you went the route of calculating the monthly cost of delivering on the order, everything was also supposed to be done on what? Monthly basis. Not to straddle both. Monthly, then annual, then monthly, then annual. Then it means that your cost analysis technically is now off, isn't it? Because you're not treating like with like. So the scenario I told you, remember this client, we need to deliver to the client. And I told that we are going to use a torpedo with a capacity of what? 10,000 tons to transport the liquid iron to the customer. So on a monthly basis, to deliver the 29,250, how many trips are supposed to be made? It's 3 trips net. But our iron ore for production is supposed to produce 30,000 tons. 2.5% is lost along the way to get the 29,250 output delivered. So it meant on loading, the torpedo is loaded with 10,000 tons. But on arrival, 2.5% they're solidified. There's no more loss. So 3 trips. Why are the number of trips important? Because we had some costs which varied by the number of what? Trips. So determining the number of trips was very, very important. And then the once-off cost was the relevant cost. The 500K, relevant incremental. So incremental was saying, if we don't take up the order, do we incur this cost? No, isn't it? Therefore, it's a relevant cost. Then the heating cost, 20K per trip. So if you've been able to determine the number of trips, then your cost per month will be easy to determine. 20,000 times number of what? Trips. Then annual maintenance cost. So this was a classic example. It's written annually. We can not pay a monthly cost of 200,000. But yet it's given as annual maintenance. Then railway line hire, 30,000 per 10 trips. How many trips? It's 3. And what is the 10 trip? There's some comment that I saw in the answers about the 10 trip issue. What is the 10 trip? It's specific for the rail line hire. Why they talk about 10 trip and not for the heating? Return is go back and come back home, isn't it? So on going, they need to use the railway line. On coming, they need to watch. But if you look at heating, on the return leg, they need to heat anything. But some of us were heating the torpedo. But that stage is not empty, isn't it? Then pulling the diesel-powered locomotive. Again, the same story. Where it needs to be pulled, isn't it? Coming back to also this gym. So I believe some of these things, when I look at them, it's simple common sense, isn't it? You don't need to be a math student to know what is the return trip. To know that when should I be worried about heating? Is it on an empty torpedo or on a torpedo carrying a load? Then the story about the distribution department. We are told that if we take up the order, they are going to charge us certain something. If we don't take up the order, we're not going to be charged. Therefore, relevant, isn't it? When I think on the raw materials, our struggles, we just follow through from required aid. You will not understand that cost card, isn't it? So in terms of trying to cost, say what is the cost of cinder to produce the 30,000 tons? If the standard cost card, it hits you left, right, center. It may not only see the same problem manifested in it. Sorry? What concept part? Okay, that's an interesting question. What is a concept mark? I'm sure I've seen some marks that one sees it. What is a concept mark? So I would say a concept mark always depends on the nature of the concept. If it's an obvious concept, I'm not going to give you a mark. I'm worried about the figures. But if I say it's a concept where you need to really make a decision and then get the amount wrong, you can get a mark for the concept. So you're able to figure that you're supposed to include, even though you got the figure incorrect. So the raw material, the capacity, it was obvious that you needed those things. There was no way you could deliver on the order without the iron ore, isn't it? So when the next one was starting from, I'm sure we will give a solution. You can add them up. And you start they are more than 90. Okay, guys. Any other challenges from required C? Yes. Sorry? Well, the story is around labor. So on the labor, which one was the relevant cost? The overtime for which class of labor? It was labor only for the what? Wage employees. So the question is, I needed to know the amount of overtime they needed to work in. Do you agree? Well, the case just told me, we don't have enough labor capacity. If we are going to save this order, our workers have to work over time. And then overtime is paid at 1.5 times the normal what? Rate. Happy. So there were about 3 questions you need to ask for you to be able to come up with the what? Cost in it. So the normal rate here, what was the normal rate? What was the normal rate? Rate per hour. Please don't go to the cost card on page 4. We are told that there are currently 591 wage employees who each work 170 6-hour work month, and are paid an average wage of 3,872 per month. So what is the rate per hour? 22 point something coming in. How did you get that? 3,872 divided by with the rate per hour. So what is the overtime rate? It was what? 22.5 times 1 point what? 5. Then our next question is, how many overtime hours? So for me to know the number of overtime hours, I need to know the number of hours they need to work to produce what? A ton, isn't it? How serious is it? So I'm told that I can't have 596 wage employees who each work 106 hours work month. So confirm I can get the total hours available for the month. And I've been told that we are using 100% capacity. That's all. As far as the labor is concerned. And the actual figures for March, I was told that I was working 100%. So how much did we produce for March? We produced what? 130k tons. And how many hours did we use to produce those 130k tons? We used 591 times what? 176. We now have total output, total available hours which are being used 100%. So what is the labor hours required per ton? Too tricky. Yes. Yeah. So yes, they are currently 591 wage employees. Remember for overtime, only one about the wage employees, not the salary ones. The salary ones are not paid overtime.
So we deduce that it takes a certain amount of hours to produce one time.
Yes.
I'm applying 591 times.
That is the total hours available in a month. And in a month, how much are we producing? But we are told that current labor force is only enough to serve current what? Okay, remember efficiency. Okay, guys, that's a very important question. When you are looking at the number of hours that it takes to produce something, do we take into account the idle time? No. It's taking into account it's normal loss, isn't it?
But
the fact that we've got lunch breaks, we've got this, that's your normal idle time.
But don't you get a standard by working in a repetitive process over and over again? Do you just say because you work 176 hours,
okay,
that's the number of employees, you get the number of hours? Is that?
Okay, can you also agree that math is not an exact science?
Okay.
Can you agree on that?
I'm done.
Feel like that's why I can get exact science. It may be text, but math, I'm saying based on the information provided, can I come up with a reasonable what? And thank you for raising that issue. It was what I call my comments. That my students are taking math as if it's an exact what? Yet it's not.
So just to take it back to the scenario, it seems as if there is much more emphasis on my staff wages and salaries have been completely neglected. But
so then the salaries have been
completely neglected.
Why did we negate the salaries?
I believe there is an assumption that
there's something in the scenario.
Yes, but then I would like to take you back to the scenario. Probably I'm missing that part.
All right.
If you read the first part of the scenario,
yes,
I think on page 3, it says the blast furnace has the capacity to produce 1,950 million tons of liquid iron per annum before dislag under normal operating activities. And this capacity is used to calculate the fixed cost per unit. Right?
Okay.
And then when you go to the labor note, it now says on page
4.
Page 4, yes. Although the blast furnace has enough production capacity, the labor force available is only enough to service the current demand. In labor, we have to work overtime. Together there.
So effective, what is our limiting factor?
No, I'm not yet done. I'm still going.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
It says management makes a distinction between salaried and waged employees.
Yes.
Waged employees are entitled to overtime.
Yes.
Whereas salaried employees are not.
Yes.
There are currently 591 waged employees who each work a 176 hour work month, paid in average wage of 3,872 per month.
Yes.
Overtime is paid at 1.5 times that. Then the next bulletin says salaried employees will spend an average of 15% of their time on the special order.
Yes.
Together. So we are saying in terms of the labor that is currently available, labor-wise, it's an equivalent of the capacity that we have right now.
What capacity? The labor capacity. So we have two capacities, isn't it? We've got labor capacity.
No.
We also have got the machinery capacity.
Let's go back to the scenario. Although the blast furnace has production capacity,
enough
production capacity.
Yes.
The labor force available is only enough to service the current demand.
Agreed.
You understand? In terms of output, what is coming from what? From the furnace, right? But then we are saying we are.
Why are you saying the labor is servicing output from the furnace?
Which demand is this? We cannot talk of the demand of within the labor market as far as
to meet current demand. So in the scenario, the iron making department, to who do they supply?
Sorry?
The iron making department, who do they sell to?
Who do they sell to? Probably that's where you're going.
They sell to the steel making department. If you go to page 1,
yes.
It says demand from the steel making what? Department, isn't it?
Yes.
So what this scenario is simply telling that the blast furnace, there's a total capacity of that 1,950%, 50,000 tons per annum. But we are only using 80%.
Correct.
It's clear why are we using 80% if I now connect the dots? It's because we're the limiting factor labor, isn't it?
Yes.
So where is the problem?
The issue now is if labor is a limiting factor,
yes.
and we are agreeing that labor is a limiting factor,
yes,
both in terms of salaried and waged employees, it's a limiting factor.
Agreed.
Except for the only variance that waged employees are actually able to work overtime. It's a special rate.
In paid, there's a cost.
But salaried employees cannot.
So is there a cost to salaried employees?
Yes, there would be. Because if we need to take the 15% off normal activity level, then something has to be happening on existing demand.
On overtime, when we make overtime,
so
which overtime they are not paid for?
So we are assuming that the 15% of their time on the special order is all overtime.
When that overtime normal, I don't care. Why? Because I don't have an incremental overtime cost.
No, but there would be an opportunity cost if we do
what? Okay, then? Okay, guys. Okay, my advice, wait. This is don't get from this. Allow us maybe take this offline, then we can discuss further and reconcile what we are missing each other. So that at least we can move forward. Alright. So guys, so I think the most important thing, how to make, I think, for a special order analysis, understand the terms of the special order and how the special order impacts exists current production. Well, some scenarios could have told you, for us to get the additional labor capacity, we may forego existing production. Then we can just start talking about an opportunity cost. But this scenario says these guys are going to work over time. So our cost is any related overtime dollar cost. Okay, so that was required C.
If the places are set, for example,
On the weight, yes.
Yeah, you mentioned that the current salary is given in the independent cost because it is being carried. But another amount is
Let's go to our required. Motivate all amounts included and that answer. If the questions are not required to do a motivate, just a calculation. It may not necessarily be a mark for exclusive. By you not including the calculation, you have included it. But when most of the questions you ask, they expect you to explain why you have excluded something. For the time some of us just omit it. They get a mark by omission. But God not necessarily knowing why we have omitted. Okay, let's look at D. So D was now looking to say, you have done the quantitative analysis. How much should we charge with a minimum? Now discuss qualitative and other quantitative factors not included in C above. So the word is specific. Please discuss qualitative and other quantitative factors not included in C above. Then there's a factor to consider. Someone they talks about what? We need to consider whether we've got enough capacity. But in C above, we deal with the capacity issue by having an overtime cost. So on D, why again is the relevant factor? We've already dealt with it. Maybe what you can talk about is what the implication of working over time. Every day. Then my other biggest problem was now to say in doing our quantitative and quantitative analysis, we've got these generic points. We need to consider the impact of our existing customers. Currently, who is iron ore department's existing customer? Can you be specific in it? What is the impact on the steel making department, if any? But we've got just this broad comment in it. Impact on existing. Do you even understand the iron making department's existing? So what is the comment there? Please, these generic factors, dangerous, isn't it? Well, they won't be talking to your case study. And you will not earn marks for those generic comments. In the case that we're told that Cisco is the only company that makes steel from iron ore. So I saw a couple of people talking about saying, if we then supply these guys, are we not going to lose our competitive advantage? We just said this person ran through the case study and understood what was going on. On the engineer. Okay? You say? Okay, guys, so there's a question on the paragraph on the engineer. What is the relevant cost? If I can just summarize. What is the relevant cost? So, but the current engineer was being paid 100K. If you don't take the order, he or she stay. Okay, the engineer is going to retire, but to take up the order, they're going to stay on. If the engineer retires, would they require to appoint a new engineer at a cost of 300,000? So what is our relevant cost? What is our relevant cost? And why? What's the engineer? What is our relevant cost and why? Is it the 400 or is it the 300? It's very pure. 300, 400. Why? I just can't read the why. Whatever comes to it. Sorry?
I used 400,000.
You took 400. Why?
Because the engineer, the one that was there, he wasn't going to retire, so they were going to still hire him again if they take up the order. And then they were not going to take up the new engineer because they were going to use the old engineer, the one who was going to retire.
Okay, interesting. Yes.
I'll put myself as the person who's doing that system and say what is good for the business, and say, would I rather keep a $400,000 engineer or hire? Because there's no distinction in terms of this one performs better than the other, or get a $300,000 engineer who is cheaper. As a business person, I would take a 300,000, which becomes my
You have to recount that. Yeah, that is what it is.
I understand.
Why?
So my thinking from this, I thought the actual was by taking us a project to be going
okay, then I'll give you our analysis. So the man tried the 400 for 300. But the man was also based on the explanation. So if you pick 400, why? If you pick 300, why? So the first rule of law was 400. If you take up the special order, you have to change. And the justification of what others are saying, because you'd rather use a person that you know in corporate memo. So I'd rather go with mine, 400. So we're taking that. Then 300 for a $200 cost amount. It makes sense that my friend going and recruited a cheaper engineer. And from our analysis, we did not want the opportunity cost. Why? Because we said this from our analysis, the reason why we are appointing this new person, it will be because of the special order. If there's no special order, the position of the engineer is now redundant. Isn't it? This is only coming through if these guys since take up the special order, they still say, I still want to what? To retire. The friend said, if he was not available. Okay. Yes.
So why are you taking both?
Sorry?
Why are you taking both? Because to me, then 300,000 seems to be.
So I'm saying both could be defended. 400, someone will say, if the government is give us access, we need the experienced person to run with this. New people always come up with they come with a risk with them. New don't know the related experience. So that was the justification for the 400. Okay, I would say let's not worry too much about the mark. But remember, like we said, it's about really assessing our logic, isn't it? To say also whether we documented our logic. But we said the options were marking based on whatever logic was documented. Why 400 or in Q 300? Why what? 300. Average. There's no one who is going to pay it average. Yes. So
you are expecting it to go either way.
So for us, remember, decision making, what are we going to pay? It's either or.
Because it's not definite whether he's going to accept or he's going to refuse the concession.
If you want to write that on your script, not to give me an average. An average won't work. You can tell me that I will take 400 because of. However, if I can also use 300 because of. So I think that's another important aspect that we need to, is that this question is required to support what you are doing. Let's not keep our discussions in our heads. Well, there's a number I won't be able to get into your head. Put it on paper. Then you assess based on what argument you put on your script. Well, some of them will be very good, but they're not documented. Question? Yes.
What a little bit start probably because I was considering this perspective.
To say?
We have a special order now, and we need to make a decision as to whether to accept it in supply. And we have a guy who would say his retirement will only be due next year. Right. So if we were to retain that guy and we were to accept the project now, his salary would be irrelevant as far as the first party is concerned until he is due for retirement. Would only need to reconsider the impact of that after he is due for retirement. So then say we need to reassess now. He is either going to leave. So I
would say, okay, I want to stop you.
Yes.
Your argument makes perfect logical sense.
Yes.
Is it on your script?
Yes.
So it's just emphasize. Remember, I said math is not an exact science. If you don't write your argument, I won't know. Can you agree?
So I wanted to ask if Kanazakata is almost because I got struck now, because I had a scenario where I need to open about.
Pick a position. Please, guys, please make a decision. Hear me? Make a decision. What because Ramoshi, you're going to spend 10 minutes, then I will not have any output to show for it. Pick a decision and move on. Output was worth 1 mark if I'm not mistaken. So guys, pick decision making. Decide whether it's wrong or right, but we have moved on in it. Rather than to get bogged down with 1 line item out of 20 line items. Sometimes if you do the mathematics, it's better even if you're not 100% sure. Move on. And minimize the internal debates. Remember I said you want to be exam smart. Alright. Where were we? There's something that I forgot to comment on. How are we allocating our annual cost or profile cost? You know what my good friends will do? The annual cost meant 200,000 divided by 12. Done. Was that appropriate? Normally, I want to use my scenario. For purposes of allocating our fixed cost, remember it's an issue of saying, how do I allocate the fixed cost that do not vary with output, isn't it? And if they're going to say the blast furnace has capacity to produce 195,000 tons, I will be under. The default discharge under normal operating activities. This capacity is used to calculate the fixed cost per unit. So it means effectively these guys, for the purpose of allocating period costs, they are using their output, isn't it? Not calendar months. So an order of 10,000 per, so for that 10,000 per month, annual, how much is it? Therefore, when I'm allocating an annual cost, I need to use the annual production to get the cost per month. But that was the guidance in the scenario. In some scenarios, yes, it may be correct to use calendar months or any other basis that the scenario may point you towards. So here the comment is, let's work with the scenario. Yes.
In this case, the special order was so if the fixed cost is right now it's 4, then that means since this is an annual order and the cost I'm getting, I now want to calculate the cost.
Sorry? You say since the cost?
I'm saying the special order was an annual thing. Say 29,250 for one year. This is per month. But the order, I thought it was running for, it was an annual order.
Okay, the order, okay, the duration of the order was not listed. You just said you have received an order. And one of the things under qualitative discussion was to actually ask, is this a short term? Is it going to be a long term order? Whereby maybe in the long term we need to consider a permanent solution to our labor capacity as a qualitative consideration. So the scenario did not listed say what is the duration of the contract, which was something that we expect to talk about under required D. And then I also want to comment on something. Some of the not so obvious or some of the subjective things on C, those are some things that you could just talk under D. To say another school of thought would have treated this course in this manner. Yes, in C I treated in this way, but someone else would also have treated in another different way.
So, the last sentence is capacity to produce 1,950,000 tons.
Yeah. Sorry?
So I say to myself, so if the blast furnace was 1.9 million, right? And for the past 2 years, it's operated at 80% capacity. Which means to me my practical capacity is 80% of 1,950,000, right?
Which is banner?
If you divide that by 12, you get 1/3.
You get?
1/3 per month.
Is my normal production.
Is that production that happened in March?
Yes.
So, was I wrong if I said there was no capacity to produce 29,000 tons?
Yes.
I was wrong.
Why? The 80% of this capacity, let's read the whole sentence on the 80%. The plant has only operated at about 80% of this capacity for the past 2 years as production is determined by steel sales. So it's not that you have a structural limitation with the plant itself, but we are sending the steel manufacturing department, and they are the one driving what we need to produce. Happy? Okay, I think we are very busy. That's about that discussion on task. Question 1. Question 2, I'll say my biggest problem that I do. Question 2, I know that most of us effectively were burned out. But we then did question 2. Question 1 appears to have taken so much toll on us. So you look at question 2. The first required Yeah, required A. I took required A personal. And I'm going to explain myself. Please allow me. So the required said critically evaluating. So you are critiquing performance. Critically evaluate. What am I evaluating? I am evaluating performance. And I want to highlight this word performance. What is performance? What is performance? For the time all of us will do financial accounting and reporting. In your financial statement, which statement reflects performance? Which statement reflects performance? Yes. It's the income statement. So what were we doing in working capital ratios? A whole page current ratio, asset debt ratio, trade debtors days, eyeball. So can you see, that question was not that difficult. But, okay guys, but we didn't pay attention to what the required was communicated. What am I evaluating? Performance. So it gave us a specific scope. And in the scenario, you get both the income statement as well as the SF business. So if you talk for me in terms of return on assets, that's a performance ratio. The return that we will generate during the year, as a effect of assets, how well did we do? But when you look at the working capital ratios, those are no longer achieved performance ratios. That one. Do you agree with our assessment? If no, why not? Yes.
Because I thought when you're looking at a company, performance is not only related to the income statement. Because those things are, okay, the income statement and the balances, they are interrelated. So when you say performance to me, I thought it's broad. And I can look at performance from the balances point of view. I can look at performance. That's my understanding. I can look at performance from the income statement.
But okay, let's go back to our theory and ratio analysis. Compare our ratio analysis, we actually categorize them. If you go back to say this type of ratios analyze this, these ones analyze this. Compare what we have ratios that analyze performance. And working capital ratios are not part of those ratios.
But it's not performance if you manage your working capital. The way you manage working capital.
Okay, guys. Okay, like I said, part of it is math. There's always going to be certain debates. But now we also need to go back to the structure of our syllabus. Your syllabus gave you that we have got certain categorization of ratios. Your financial report also says something to you. So if you then totally ignore all those things, then we now have an unguided argument. So here I'm saying both from a financial reporting as well as from our map ratio analysis, there's a certain categorization that we do. If I now get added, cash flow statement reflects performance. But I'm looking at cash flow statement ratios. For that, they're not categorized under what? Performance ratios. But the most important message, all these arguments you are giving me, did you actually think it that way in the exam? Or we're not trying to justify in insight? You did whatever we're doing. Now we say, but I think I was right. Because if I justify, if you had a proper thought process, even if you reach an incorrect conclusion, I'm still happy with it. But at least you thought about it.
Here's what I did. So I looked at 21 months, right?
Yeah.
I looked at the ratios that I can calculate based on the income statement. I realized there are probably 10 keywords. So 21 marks probably you were not making calculations as well. So probably I needed more ratios because we were not enough. So I then had to say, how can I look at this company and analyze its performance and add a few ratios that probably were relevant, not really just every other ratio. So that's how I analyzed it, and I came to my thinking that they not only be limited to change the income statement.
Okay. So I think my analysis is my response to that is what I'm getting about this, we're deliberate about what we do. And whenever you make a decision, not always that you're going to make the right decision. But for me, the deliberate. The people that are more worried about things, they just took the performance at face value and just went on it. And that's what, without even thinking about what does this mean. It was the way I'm going to answer the question. So that was one. And second, okay, guys, second is now on the commender. What is a commender? Turnover grew by 9% from prior year. And then the net profit margin also grew by 6%. As you can see from the calculations, employee costs as a federal net profit increased by 6%. Hey, is that a commender? That's not a commender, isn't it? We are just reading out the numbers for me, nothing else. A commenter could say, they are saying our net profit margin went down. Why? It could be explained by the increase in occupancy cost from prior to current years. Why did our overall turnover increase? Because our other income contribution went up. So you are using your other ratios to explain the impact on your certain key ratios, isn't it? So that relationship analysis is very important. Which cost or ratios will impact on each other? And then also to use the information in the case study. Why would you think the sales grew? Maybe this now we are told that we opened new branches, we are also penetrating the online market. It could be a reason why our sales are going. That's not a comment, there isn't. Rather than regurgitating the calculations. And I'd say at ITC, I won't be surprised if you are going to get a question to comment on something. Why? Because I'm sure you know there's talk that as accountants we're going to lose our jobs. And one of the key things you find that as humans we are still going to be able to need it is to interpret data. A report is generated. What is it communicating to us? So analysis is a very important skill. Are you able to analyze information provided and have or give useful insights? So if you struggle with analysis, it's an area that you need to work on it. How do you do an analysis? Can you connect the dots in doing an analysis? So I'll say that for us, that was our major feedback. So I would say most of us, yes, we calculated that I will give it to you. But the thinking behind what we're doing. Another question on the quad A. Question 2A. I hope you are continuously checking against your skills. Because you need individually how did I achieve this question? So let's go to C. Critically assess the reasonableness of the listed share price of USP as at 1 June 2019. And your assessment should be supported with appropriate calculations considering various valuation methods. On this one, we saw things that we had never seen. So let's start off from the context. Guys, do we understand how the stock market works? The stock market. in Zimbabwe are looking at the ZSE. Do you understand how it works? I think that was our biggest problem. Some of us found it very hard to challenge a price on a listed stock market. Say, how can you talk about it? It is what it is. So, a stock market is simply an auction system platform, isn't it? Willing buy, willing what? Willing sell. So, a third part of the valuation of the stock market, just perception, isn't it? What is the market willing to pay? Then when it comes down to our valuation method, our valuation methods are put into two broad categories, which are what? If you look at our valuation methods, they are into two broad categories. Not only the earnings ITC, so but the intrinsic value and the what? Intrinsic and what? It X something. So intrinsic value is if I value either the assets of the company or the opportunities of the company, what is the value? And normally people say intrinsic value is the true value. So then you find that ordinarily companies tend to trade either at a discount of the intrinsic value or at a premium. So for those who are asset managers, they will tell you if a stock is trading at a discount, it will be a buy. So if you look at their operations, value news or discount free cash flow, people should be valued more. Or if you do a net asset valuation, it should be valued at a higher amount. Then our extrinsic valuation method then include your PE. Because your PE ratio is a function of what the market perceives to be the value. So this requires just saying if you use all these valuation methods, the value of new scheme, does it make sense? It's a reasonableness check, isn't it? Which most asset managers, stockbrokers, they normally do. The delta share trading is so much. Is it a reasonable price? They can use these various valuation tools to assess reasonableness. Why? Because valuation is never an exact science. Because ultimately, how much is paid then depends on negotiation, on what the other party is willing to pay. So some of the most obvious methods to use, based on the implement scenario, was to use the PE method, price earnings, to also use the dividend growth model. What they talked about dividends, their history of paying out dividends, and the expected growth rates. But there was something that I noticed on the calculation of AE. In life, please allow me to highlight this. And remember, I'm not talking to you individually. So if it's you, just smile on your own, isn't it? Okay. What is market risk premium? What is market risk premium? Or mathematically, how is market risk premium determined? I know you love your math. How is market risk premium determined? It's what? But I saw people on the KE calculation, they still did this. So it was said 4.5% minus the 2.5%. And why I also say I'm going to this. Remember there's a document we shared with you, with some of those CTA with us. just before, I think, Thomas, we were doing a revision, the market terms document. It's one area we really emphasize on. Say, what is the market risk premium? So either I give you the premium or we just give you the RIM with it. Then you can determine the premium. And on the beta coefficient, which one do we use? The unlevered or the levered? Which one do we use? On the beta coefficient. Determining our KE. We use the levered beta. So the beta that is in our compound formula is a levered what? I saw some people unlevered and didn't even know wait. So the formula had to be used. Yes. What was the heart? But second thing, you need to be very careful. They are just to put you up or cause confusion. So based on the KE calculation, there were a lot of easy marks that could have been earned. And just commenting, once you have done your valuations in the PE, how does it compare to the listed share price? Once you have done your valuations in the dividend growth model, how does it compare to the share price? Once you have done your valuations in the net assets, how does it compare to the... Because some of us then ended up just doing calculations if there was no commenter. Yet the required simply said the valuation methods are to support your assessment. So I'd say, remember, it's this little detail that can easily miss out on and lose potentially easy marks. But the beauty at times about them, but at times that's why you can get your concept marks. To say, maybe based on the valuation that you've gone from your calculation, if you are able then to properly comment on it, you're now comparing with the listed share price. And your analysis is not relevant based on the numbers you've calculated. You can get your marks. If I say I'm getting a higher valuation, if I'm using dividend growth model, therefore it means the share is trading at a discount. Most of what I didn't tell you. So that was C. And I would say, I'm not going to comment on this one. On the solution, there are some other valuation methods that are included there. I want you to go through them. Chances are you're not going to understand them. Let's discuss on our group. So don't worry if you don't understand. Let's talk about them. So what is the thinking behind? And also some of the valuation methods used. Then D. Was D difficult? So D is another classical problem that we have as students. The required said, based on the listed share price of Newski and the offer price of V&B shares, calculate the exchange ratio and the number of shares issued to the shareholders of V&B who elect the exchange offer. And what formula I gave them in their module. The information was not there in the scenario, and somehow you did your magic and came up with something. But the problem is required told you the method to use. Did you not? The required said, based on the listed share price of Newski and the offer price for P&B, calculate the exchange ratio. But because this method is not there in your modules, the said required your case. I know a more complex way of doing this thing. Well, remember, exchange ratio system for every share in BNB, how many new skin shares are you going to want to get in? So if you go back to the scenario, you then say, what is the listed share price of new skin? And I think it was given, not sure. What is the offer price for BNB? How much are we willing to pay per share in BNB? And from the two, we come up with our exchange. But obviously, one of the major things that we need to be careful of, new skin was listed in the USD. And we were talking about US dollars. And you were talking about our dollars, which are also dollars. So in determining the exchange rate, make sure that both share price need to be the same currency before you calculate the exchange ratio. But remember, right with so this requires this is going to happen in ITC. You are going to be told to use a certain method that you've never seen before. But you'll be told how it works in it. Stop arguing with the method. If you don't agree with the method, check the argument outside the exam. In the exam, use as instructed. This is how they do it. But more often than not, they spend so much time doing our own things, but that's what's sitting in my module. Yet we said math is not an exact science. There are so many ways of doing this thing. You resort to your known models and methods. If you're not told any specific method, isn't it? Then you resort to the one that you know. Sisongela. Any questions on D? That's T command. Any questions on D? No questions. Okay, just a moment. So on E, calculate the effective pre-tax rate of the corporate bonds, assuming that new skin settles 50% of the purchase price for the shares in BNB with what? With cash. I know from your scripts, I would pick out that all of you picked out that you're supposed to calculate I, isn't it? Which I reflects the cost. But the biggest problem was now on the cash flows. Let's go to our scenario. Proposed funding. So our word said, assuming that we are going to fund what 50%. So my starting cash flow was 50% of the offer what? Offer price. But remember, BNB was a company which was valued in Zimbabwe dollars. So first of all, we are supposed to convert the offer price to US what? Dollars. With the US dollar amount, we then say 50% of it, didn't it? Yeah. Now with the 50%, I'm then told that we are going to issue the bond 90% of the principal amount. So we're going to issue it at a discount, isn't it? Do you agree? So it means that my cash proceeds or my present values, most of you want to call it in the exam. Now seriously, not the entire 50%. Further to that, I was also going to incur, where's my information on the issue cost? Underwriting an issue cost, 0.5% of the principal amount, isn't it? So it meant that my PV, let's just say hypothetically, 50% of our price was $100. It was supposed to be $100, that issue price. But I'm going to get at least 98%. So it meant that for my PV was going to be $98 minus issue what? Issue cost. Issue cost being 0.5% of $100 to get my PV. But my PV is how much cash got into our bank account. Do you agree? But when I go to future value, I'm now looking back at the principal amount. I think most of us, that's where we missed out in determining the present value. And if you did the calculations in the Zimbabwe dollar amount, yet this was clear it's going to be what? A USD bond. So my analysis would say this is a classic example of failing to pay attention to details. What have I been told? What is the implication to what I'm trying to? I hope there's no new technical concept here. You can raise your hand and say, but here technical I don't think this has been covered. Anyway in our syllabus. Nothing new. So that's our story. On the paper one that we go to ask this. So guys, I know most of you, when you wrote this mock, you said it was a difficult paper. Yes, we are told that it was challenging. But one thing that you are going to find in your ITC, you are going to get at least one paper which is going to remove you from your comfort zone. What do we mean by comfort zone? A paper which is going to package information in a way that you are not used to. It's about packaging, isn't it? Not to say technically there will be anything new. It's about how information is structured. So as you are doing your preparations, please prepare with that flexibility in mind. But good, when I want to see such information, I only want to see it being described in this specific way. That's the only way I know what it means. So let's invest in that flexibility. But otherwise, that's why I prepared for you. So I don't know whether there are any questions from the floor. So the solutions, they've also been uploaded on my CA. Please go through them. Where you're not sure about any line item, let's discuss on our group in them. If you are too stuck, you can also come individually for further discussion. Sorry? Yeah, the question ends.